Julia here from JM Squared Vintage. Welcome back to the channel. I am here today with the ship with me. These are all orders that came through over the weekend. A bit of a slower weekend, but some big sales, some really quick sales, some really interesting things that sold. I really love being able to like show you what sold, what it sold for, what I got it for, how long I had it for, and really bring you into like that part of my process. But I hope everybody's weekend was great. I hope everybody's sales are looking up after the fee change and the fee change back. Either way, we are officially in the holiday season and sales should be ramping up for the next month or so. So let me know how you guys are doing. I'm interested to hear if you guys are starting to like really pick up. But before we get started here, if this is the first time that we are meeting, if this is your first time stumbling on my channel, first and foremost, welcome. I am Julia, that is my name. We talk all things thrifting and vintage and the business of reselling on the internet. If that sounds like something that you might be into, consider hitting subscribe down below. I would love to have you along on this journey. But without further ado, guys, I mean, are we surprised? It's late. It's like 3:30, so I need to get these things packed up and over to the post office, and I still have like 3 stops to make after that, and I have to do this all before 5. So why don't you go grab yourself a snack, grab yourself a drink, sit back, relax, and let's get into the shipments. So the first piece we have here is this adorable dress from Moth. This is like a linen blend, lightweight sweater dress. Moth is an Anthropologie brand, and I'm not entirely sure that they are still made or sold by Anthropologie. They tend to be these kind of elevated basics, nice textiles, a little bit more of like a bohemian feel to them. But this is a cute faux wrap front dress in this pretty like burgundy color. About tea length, great condition. I'm gonna guess that this is probably 2010s, maybe a little bit earlier. Size medium, but again, in fantastic condition. I've got a pretty good bead on what will and won't sell from a brand like Moth. And I apologize, guys, if you keep hearing loud cars. There have been like muscle cars driving around my neighborhood all day, and I just can't wait any longer. So I'm able to source for a pretty low dollar amount. So I would just kind of, when you're looking at, you know, 2010s era Anthropologie, I would just make sure you're looking at sold comps before you pay $10 for a dress like this. Whereas this dress, because it's linen, because of the color, because it's got the faux wrap, because it's had a lot of things going for it, I knew that it would sell pretty quickly for a decent price. But there are, you know, if it's a less significant piece, maybe you're not gonna get enough to like justify a $10 investment. So I had this listed for just a week and a half. Again, it had all the things going for it. And I had it listed for $32 and got an offer for $25, which I gladly accepted. This was a Mercari sale, so there was no seller's fees taken out of it. With a $1 cost of the bins, this brought my profit to $24 even. Very, very cute dress. Again, I would use your discretion with Moth and other items from Anthropologie of that era, just based on what you can source for. Next up, you want to talk about something that sold lightning quick. This was like within hours. This is an adorable little lace bolero shrug open front cardigan from a brand called Oh Susanna. I think this is vintage. I'm gonna guess from the look of the tag, probably 90s. It's Oh Susanna, New York. So if any of you are familiar with Oh Susanna, New York, let me know what you know. That's the label there. This feels like it might have been an old tablecloth or woven specifically for this. It has a little butterfly motif. It's in perfect condition. And this was something that like we were going into a table change and I saw this kind of sitting on top of like a bin about to go to the back, and I snagged it literally as it was just about to start rolling, and I'm super happy I did. I mean, it's just so interesting. And for something like this, I used all of those keywords: bolero, shrug, cardigan, you know, tablecloth. I just wanted to make sure that all of the kind of potential keywords were covered in this. There's a lot about this that I can use. But either way, something like this that looks like it was made from an old tablecloth, I will always pick up. There's a pretty big market for those kind of recycled garments. I actually had one a couple months ago. Oh, I can't remember the designer. I'll put it down here, but it was old like embroidered napkins and tablecloths, and it went in like 2 days for $100. It was beautiful. There is a market for this kind of stuff. So if you see stuff like this, feel comfortable paying up for it a little bit. But this one, while being relatively small, I was pretty sure it was gonna move pretty quick. It's just a cute little topper and definitely like unique. Not something you can run out to a store right now and pick up. So I had this listed for hours, and I had it listed at $32, and I sent an offer to a liker of $27.20, and it was accepted. So with the $1 cost of the bins, this brought my profit to $25.97. And it is so stinking cute. I mean, just such a unique piece. That's what I love to pick up. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love my bread and butter. It does sell really quickly, but when I get to save a piece like that, like literally from a bin that was about to be rolled back into oblivion, that always makes me feel really good. Next up, another one I knew was gonna go pretty quick. I had a ton of interest in it. This is a little dress from Saga. Saga, I don't know if they are a boutique brand or if they're local. There's a couple like boutiques around here, but either way, they make these kind of interesting log and look silhouettes. A lot of the stuff that they have is linen. This is like a tencel jersey, kind of like a ponte. It's hooded, it's in this really cute, like almost pea green color. I really struggled with trying to like list what this color was. It's not quite chartreuse. It's pea green, right? This is pea green. But dresses I find with these kind of silhouettes always sell really well for me. It doesn't necessarily matter if they are like a known log and look brand, just that silhouette and the keywording get the right eyeballs to it. Like I've sold things like this that are like cotton off of Amazon, like a definitively Amazon brand. And you know, it's not gonna be selling for $89 like something that's a more known name brand, but it'll sell for $20 in 2 days. It's just an in-demand style that a limited amount of places manufacture for. So that's always like a magic combination. But Saga, like I found quite a few of their pieces and they're always really beautiful quality, beautiful textiles, beautiful cuts. I don't think that they don't retail all that high. I wanna say something like this was probably like 70 bucks, but my sell-through on Saga is like 100%. So I had this listed for just a month and I had it listed for $32. And I got an offer for $25, which I gladly accepted with a $1 cost of the bins. This brought my profit to $18.75. I will pick up Saga pieces. I will pick up anything log and look. I don't care if there's a tag in it. It doesn't even need to have a tag in it. I'll pick it up. Let me know if you do the same. Maybe I have a pocket of buyers that shop my closets that really like that style, but anything I've ever had that's like log and look style, out. Next up, this was such a cool find. This is a vintage kind of varsity style sweater, and I believe it's Princeton. I looked and looked and looked and looked to see if I could find any other logo that had a P like this. Now Princeton is not far from where I grew up, so we saw a lot of Princeton merch kind of around us. But I do feel like I remember seeing that piece specifically in the 90s. Either way, this is perfect condition. It's a varsity sweater. I will pick up vintage collegiate wear anytime I see it, as long as it's like a good school. So I'm in Southern California here. Like I'm not gonna pick up Cal State Dominguez Hills vintage, but I will pick up like vintage USC. For the Philadelphia area, I'll pick up vintage Princeton, I'll pick up vintage Penn. But maybe I won't pick up vintage like Westchester University. Because they tend to have, these bigger schools, they tend to have a fan base that's above and beyond students. Although I do find that I usually sell these kind of things to students. Like this in particular, yeah, this is going to Princeton campus, which I do always love to see. I love kind of reuniting these kind of things to their home. But this is the kind of thing that I will pick up anytime. I love vintage collegiate stuff. And this was in such good condition. It's definitely vintage, but it had like no wear to it whatsoever. 100% cotton. It had all the the signs of quality to it. But anyway, I had this listed for $39. I had it for about 3 months and I got an offer for $30, which I gladly accepted. With a $1 cost of the bins, this brought my profit to $23 even. So I'm happy this is going back home. Next up, this is an interesting thing. I grabbed this because it was really interesting and brand new with tags. This is a little bra from the Nudity system. And let me show you that tag there. So I grabbed it because it felt nice and it was weird and it was brand new with tags. And I'll tell you, because I searched for it, I've been getting served a ton of ads on this, and I gotta say, it's pretty intriguing. Let me know if it's got like double straps that you can wear like all over on one side. So it's a soft bra that you can wear multiple different ways. You can wear it with like a one shoulder dress. You can wear it like a, you know, one of those dresses that kind of crosses. You can do one of those dresses that has like a cut in shoulder line, which is impossible to get a bra to work with unless you're wearing strapless, which certainly I don't do. It just doesn't exist for somebody like me. But let me know if any of you have experience with a Nudity system bra, because I'm intrigued. This would not have fit me, but I'm also not opposed if this thing is like a little miracle, paying up to get one in my size. Because those kind of like, I like those cut-in shoulders. I think that they're super flattering, but I never know what to do bra-wise. I'm not doing strapless. I'm past that point in my life. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's all fun and games when you're 20 years old and like rubber, but I'm not 20 years old anymore, so I need another option. But this I had listed for $32 for just one day. Again, another thing that's a lightning quick. So, I mean, if you see it out and about, get it, you know, pick it up if you're getting it cheap enough. I got an offer for $22, which I gladly accepted. With a $1 cost of the bins, this brought my profit to $16.60. So, humbly requesting some crowdsourced opinions on Nudity system multi-way bras. Let me know. Next up, oh my God. This is like my Berlin, Berghain, new wave fantasy 1980s silk overcoat. It just like, when I first got this, it smelled so strongly of cigarettes that it was almost nauseating. So I did, if you ever have like an old garment from the 80s, of course it's from the 80s, that reeks of smoke, cheap vodka in a spray bottle gets it out. You know, it does the same thing as alcohol, but anyway, so I had this outside, I had it airing out. It still smells like ever so faintly, but it would have knocked you off your feet when you got it. But this is from a brand called Franco Caligari, and it's pure silk. It's got shoulder pads to the gods. I mean, look at the size of these. They're like so puffy. This was one of those things that, I mean, it's not for everybody. I do this kind of weird vintage stuff because it's something that like appeals to me, you know? Like, I love new wave music. I love Berlin in the 90s. I love that kind of vibe. And, you know, this is the kind of thing that just like, even in the vintage world, doesn't pop up all that much. You know, I'm sure that people still have them like somewhere in their closet, or, you know, have disposed of them because they smell too strongly of cigarettes, because everybody in the world smoked back then. So it's something that I pick up knowing that it's gonna take a while to sell, but I also don't care. I know that there's somebody out there looking for something specifically like this, and it makes me happy that I can provide. I also would not be surprised at all if this was going for like a costume house, because this is exactly the kind of thing, you know, like if you're filming a period film about the 80s or about that kind of era in the 80s, this is the kind of thing that you're either gonna have custom made because they just don't exist anymore, or you're really gonna have to dig the vintage market. Either way, it's super fabulous, and I don't know, I couldn't find anything about the designer, but I'm gonna guess that it was pretty high-end. Like, it was beautiful silk and a whole lot of silk. So I had this thing listed for about 8 months, which, to be totally honest, is actually not that long for something like niche and vintage like this. And I had it listed for $65 and got an offer for $50, which I gladly accepted. With a $1 cost of the bins, this brought my profit to $39 even. And I am like, just over the moon to get this thing back out into somebody's closet and getting somewhere, because it's so cool, and I think it is so rare, and I'm happy that I was able to like mitigate that cigarette smell as much as I was, because it was intense. Next up here, from like the most ridiculous vintage piece to maybe the most basic, this is a Lululemon shirt. This is pretty much brand new condition. It's just one of their like oversized long sleeve t-shirts with a drop hem. It's like bum covering, but it is like brand new with tags and a size 10. So like, you never find a Lululemon piece with the tags still intact in the bins, but I'll take it when I can find it. These kind of things for me sell much better than the leggings these days. It's kind of crazy. I was just replying to somebody's comment on one of my videos, and I'm like, you know, she was talking about how you know, the first year of reselling is like an internship. And I'm like, make no mistake about it. Like, you learn all the time because trends change all the time. So like, while we might have had a good system, and you think about the people who are like sourcing on pallets, right? You know, 3 years ago when we were like in the heights of the, you know, the pandemic, leggings were it, right? Everybody was wearing leggings every day. People were working from home. And, you know, that was like a whole business model for them. But now that leggings aren't moving nearly as fast, you know, you really have to like adapt and change, right? This is literally something that we do that we have to adapt and change all the time with the change of trends. For somebody like me, like I love following trends, like that is a hobby for me, so it's right up my alley, but I know it gets exhausting for a lot of people. But hopefully if you are one of those people that gets exhausted by trying to figure out which trends are which and whatever, hopefully watching, you know, me and other YouTubers out there will help kind of just like let you know what the trends are without you having to do like the research on your own. So I had this listed for about a month and a half, and I had it listed for $49, and it popped through as a full price sale. So I love that. With a $1 cost at the bins, this brought my profit to $37.55. So always happy to find something like that in the bins. Like I just don't find it all that often. I don't find really like new Lululemon in the thrift. I don't find it in the bins. I just don't find it all that much in general, but I do love it when I find it. Next up is this cute shirt from Wilfred. Wilfred is one of the brands from Aritzia. And this is, I think they call this like their slinky rib. It's something like that. It's like a tensile modal rib knit. It's super soft. It's super slinky. It's this pretty off-white color. This is in like brand new condition. Size medium. This is definitely a brand I like to keep my eyes out for. Something like this, they're basics. I mean, like Aritzia, if you are unfamiliar, is like an elevated basics brand. And they have some things that are a little bit more trend driven. And in my experience, those items sell less well than the basics. You know, people love a Wilfred t-shirt. People love the Wilfred effortless pants, any of the pants in that gorgeous Japanese crepe. People love the TNA sweats. People really love the, I think it's called the Super Puff jacket. I have yet to find one in the thrift or in the bins, but it was like super viral like last year, the year before that. It's just like kind of a cropped, not super cropped, but like a cropped puffy jacket. Let me know if you've ever found an Aritzia Super Puff, because they, I mean, I think they retail for like $250, and on the resale market, they were going for like over $100. I've yet to find one, but I'm also in California, so that might be why. Aritzia is a Canadian brand, so if I have any Canadian viewers out there, like let us know if this is something that you see in your local secondhand shops or in your local thrifts. But it's definitely an expensive store. So it's Wilfred, Sunday Best, Babaton, TNA. That's like the letters TNA. If I'm forgetting any, I'll put it down below, but keep your eyes out for any of those brands while you are outsourcing. And make sure that when you're listing it, you're using both the brand name Babaton and Aritzia. So I had this listed at $30 for just 2 days. I knew this would sell quick. Again, these kind of like cropped basics from Wilfred just sell well. Got an offer for $25, which I gladly accepted. With a $1 cost of the bins, this brought my profit to $19 even. Love that, hope she loves it. But those things, I wanna say that those retail at like $60 or so. They're very expensive. And finally, this is something that I was pretty sure would go pretty quickly. This is the most incredible dress from a designer named Injiri. This is an Indian-based designer that does these like one-of-a-kind, embroidered, just super lightweight cotton pieces. I'm pretty sure they're all handmade, hand embroidered. Each one is gonna be one of a kind. And they are pricey. Like retail on this was probably about somewhere between $1,000 to $1,500. Absolutely stunning. So I was not quite sure what to price this at, because I'd seen quite a few other dresses that were in like the $300 range, but they were all like midi length. I was just trying to do as much research on this as I could. I did a really gentle like hand wash on this. So it's funny, like it feels a little stiff to me, and I'm like, this is the kind of thing that once you wear it for about an hour, it's gonna soften up and just be like dreamy. I just wanna fold this carefully here. Oh my God, This is so pretty. I'll never forget when I saw this. This was literally like sitting on top of a bin, which first of all, in the bins, like, do you believe it? And I just picked it up and it was so, you know, like I have this whole philosophy of if it's weird and well made, I'm gonna look at it. So I didn't know the designer. The tag looked super high end. The name maybe sounded like a hair familiar, but I just can't think of how I would have actually heard of this designer before, because they're very niche, very expensive, and I don't think that they're sold in many places. They're based out of India, and it just absolutely positively stunning. I'm gonna give this like a double layer here just because it's so pricey. And I don't like to use extra plastic, but when I'm shipping something that somebody spent a good deal of money on, I just want to make sure that it's like extra well protected. I do the same thing with like vintage, especially like vintage silk pieces. I mean, anything that like you can't, if you really need to go out and buy another one, like I'm pretty sure that these are one of a kind. So like she will not find another one that looks like this. Same thing with those vintage silk pieces. So I played around with a couple different pricings on this. Sold comps I was seeing anywhere between like 100 and 500. So I ultimately ended up listing this for $240. I almost immediately had like 3 or 4 extreme lowball offers. So people came in and offered me like $35 for it. But then I got an offer. I went back and forth with the gal who purchased it, and we settled on $160, and which I gladly accepted. This all happened within 4 days. So with a $1 cost of the bins, like this is the kind of thing that like would be like a crime against humanity to go into the waste stream. Like this is art. This is wearable art. So with the $1 cost of the bins, this brought my profit to $127. God, I hope she absolutely, positively adores this. This is the kind of thing that like hopefully will be an heirloom piece for her, because again, it is that beautiful wearable piece of art. I'm almost sad to have that leave my closet because it was just such a special piece. But that is it, guys. That is the shipment for today. I am, of course, running late, so I do need to get these things packed up, loaded up in my car, off to the post office. But thank you guys so much for hanging with me while I literally get my work done. Thank you for listening to my stream of consciousness. But if you guys had fun, please consider leaving a like or a comment on this video. Of course, don't forget to hit subscribe. I would love to have you along on this journey. But without further ado, guys, have the most beautiful weekend. Happy hunting, and I will see you all in the next one.